This is the Lamto 7-inch display. Welcome back, guys, on my YouTube channel. Today I continue my search of CarPlay devices, and today I'm bringing you a new CarPlay device. This is the Lamto 7-inch display that we placed on this brand new Royal Enfield Hunter 350. But stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you then also want to see the full review on the Royal Enfield, because I'll bring it soon on the channel. In the last year, I tested several of these kind of devices. The reason is that I really don't like clamping stuff around my handlebar, putting my phone, then, you know, I'm maybe going with Google Maps and then I receive a call and I need to fiddle around. I like to have my smartphone in my pocket and just before I start riding, set the destination and then see it on a screen. Depending on the bike, the dimension could vary, because on certain bikes you need a smaller dimension due to the fairing. Here I wanted the biggest dimension I could have to make it very visible, as this is not actually my bike, but it's Galya's bike, so I want her to have clear visibility so she doesn't get lost. Now you see it installed here on the bike, but we'll quickly switch over to the unboxing so you see everything that is inside the box. Okay, I'll quickly run you through the unboxing of the Lamto 7-inch CarPlay device, and we'll see everything that comes in the box. The box shows a motocross rider, which is nice, even though we won't put this device on a motocross bike, but we will put it on Galya's Royal Enfield. We open and we immediately find the screen, the device. 7-inch display. This is waterproof and also has a touchscreen display. Nice feature, it already has a small shade on the back. It has a ball, like a ram mount ball, so this means we'll be able to attach it with different clamps to the handlebar. Then we have the power cable with a quick connector that will make it easy for us to take it off and put it on the bike, especially when maybe we stop at a gas station. Inside the box then we have the power cable, very easy to set up. We have a positive and negative. This will wire it to our battery, or if we wish, to any power outlet we have already on our bike. On the other side we have, I think this is an M10 quick connector that we will just bolt on the back of the device. Next thing that comes in the box is the clamp for your handlebar. So we have a ram arm. This is a pretty long arm, so we'll be able to really position it where we want on the bike, and I'll also show you once I'll install it on the bike. Then we have a set of zip ties and a key and a screwdriver to bolt everything together. Last but not least, we have a manual where we will also be able to configure it with either our Android or Apple device. Okay, installation was pretty forward for the power. Just you go with the red to the positive and the black to the negative. The two connectors to either connect it to the battery or to your ACC plug, which this bike doesn't have, are not included, so keep that in mind. I wired everything. Only small downside is clearly now we have continuous power, meaning that if I plug in the connector, the device is always on. I can understand that for the price this device comes out, which is relatively cheap, they can't include an on-off switch. Probably the best solution, and what I will do, is cut the wires near the handlebar and put an on-off switch. In this way I can turn it off and on when I don't need it, especially if when I reach home I leave the bike in the garage, or this will drain my battery. This is also an easy thing to do, but not necessary, as you have the plug near the device. The only thing is then you have to remember every time time to unplug it and plug it back in. On most bikes, you don't need to remove the tank, anything to get to the battery, since the wire is pretty small. I wired it on this Royal Enfield Hunter 350 with the zip ties that are included in the box. I zip tied it to the main wiring harness. In this way, we have a nice and clean setup that you can't really see. I'll put the cover back on and then we'll go testing the Lamto 7-inch CarPlay display. I decided to go with this setup, so having the display slightly to the side, because the OEM dashboard is on the left side, so went with the Lamto on the right hand side. In this way, I'm able to ride and see both, so see the OEM dashboard, see my fuel, but also have the CarPlay system show my navigation. On here you have a few notices, because you have to have an iPhone or Android system that's 11 or above. For the iPhone system, 12 or above. Huawei phones are not supported. Then before we remove it, here you have a QR code. You'll need this for the installation tutorial and also for the firmware update. Now let's do the most satisfying thing. Let's peel the film off. Okay, we are at the end of the test of the Lamto 7-inch CarPlay display. Here on the Royal Enfield, we set it a bit to the side because on the left-hand side of the bike we have the dashboard. This is my girlfriend's bike, and the reason for which I went with the Lamto 7-inch display is because of the dimensions of the display. This device might be too big on certain bikes, but for the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 it's ideal, because with the included clamp I managed to put it on the side of the handlebar, and in this way I can see both this and the OEM dashboard. I like the fact it has this sun shield, so when I was riding, especially like at sunset, this would help me get better visibility. Clearly it's not a game changer, but it does help you a bit. Of all the CarPlay displays I tried, I believe this is the one that gave me a better consistency regarding to the connectivity to my smartphone. I have an iPhone and it always connects automatically. I never had to go back and do it manually. I had to do it manually only the first time. As Thomas will show you, it takes a few seconds to connect from when it boots up, but it's relatively quick. Then I can put whatever destination I want on my phone and just mirror it here on the display. Being so big, I have a clear visibility, reason for which this device will stay on Galya's bike since she is learning to ride and I want her to focus on the road, and if she needs to use the GPS, it has to be big enough that she doesn't lose vision of what's happening. I believe that the RAM mount that is included in the device is very, very useful, because you can really move it in any position you want. So I can put it even more central if I wanted, just turning the knob. The device also shows you the notifications. For example, for WhatsApp, it won't tell you the text, it will just show that you received a message from this person in your contacts list. This is very useful because when I'm riding, I can see if I'm receiving messages maybe from someone I was waiting a reply for and eventually stop my bike. You have a bunch of apps that you can access. Clearly, you cannot play YouTube or stuff like that, any video content or messages, even Telegram and other apps, you'll get the notification. You have then apps like podcasts or Spotify, which lets you start any song, any podcast you want. And if you have this connected to your Bluetooth headset in your helmet, you can play and stop and switch to any song you want. In case you don't have a headset, when you press play on Spotify, for example, your phone will start playing the music. One very important feature I want to share with you is the fact that since this is a touch display, you can move around the map, around the apps. And when I had my glove on, I was able to move around the Google Maps, which not all the devices let you use the touch with your glove. Speaking instead of the little flaws of this device is the fact that every time I stop at a gas station to have a drink or at supermarket, I always need to remove it because it doesn't have a locking system. This can be a bit inconvenient in case you don't have a backpack with you because it's pretty big, so when you remove it you don't have a place to put it, you can't put it in your pocket. If you leave it on the bike, it will be very easy for anyone to steal it. The other downside I already mentioned is the fact that when I attached it directly to the battery, every time I have to disconnect the connector. Luckily, the connector is waterproof, dustproof, and is positioned behind the device, meaning that I can do it fairly easily every time to put it on and off. Ideally, we need to go and put a switch here on the handlebar. All in all, the device feels like a good quality device. I've used it now over the past weeks and haven't had any issue. Another thing I would have liked, but I understand that for the very cheap price this device is sold on Amazon, and by the way, I'll put the link in the description so that you can see the device and the exact cost, as it may vary slightly. The only thing is, on the back of the display, I would have liked if you had the threaded holes. For example, if I wanted to put the device on a nav tower, on an adventure bike, or on a crossbar, so using the amps, maybe CNC mount, I can't do it because the RAM ball is basically fixed to the rear of the display, limiting me to have to always use a RAM mount in order to fix it. The slightly annoying thing about this is that if I had the possibility to put bolts directly on the device, I would have solved the fact that if I stop somewhere, I need to remove the device. With the bolts, I would not have to worry about leaving it on the bike. Okay guys, let me know down in the comments what you think about this device. Also suggest me if there is any other device that maybe I didn't bring on the channel but that you think is a very good quality price ratio. For me, for the price under 200 euros, this does the job. And being a wide display, I can see it very well. The luminosity of the display, the brightness is pretty good. I could see it even when I was riding at 1 p.m. with the sun up high. I could always see the screen. Maybe in the video sometimes it's difficult. One thing I would suggest is that if you go with this device, like most of the CarPlay display devices I've tried here on the channel, is to add a matte finish film on top of it, because you can see that the screen is very glossy, so sometimes you can get some reflection. Despite the reflections, I was always able to navigate with the Google Map. Thanks guys for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!